Could petrol motorcycles be really banned by 2040? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos. So, could there be an absolute ban on petrol-driven motorcycles by 2040? Now, a new story has come out today from Motorcycle News claiming that, well, the movers and shakers in the political world, they're going to be debating this. I won't get into the finer details of the article, but go read the article from Motorcycle News. You can find it on their website. So the interesting thing here is that we've been to and froing with the ban of cars in terms of petrol and diesel until 2030, isn't it? 2035. Then initially it was always going to be motorcycles were going to be included in that, and then he said no, we're not going to include it, and they said no, we are going to include it. You know, it's been a bit of a confusing picture, certainly from my point of view, and this is from all over Europe. Now, whether this is going to try and be filtered in other parts of the world, let's say, I don't know, let's say in the United States, for example, or maybe certain states within the United States will adopt these policies. Right, okay, so here's the interesting thing. This is where I kind of feel it's relevant. For the smaller motorcycles, especially like sort of 50cc motorcycles and mopeds, up to, I don't know, let's say up to 100cc 125, there is an argument, there is a decent argument to say actually this is where the electric market is really coming into its own. And I've been saying this for a long time, that electric motorcycles, electric scooters, electric mopeds, whatever it is, up to a certain size, a small size, actually kind of make real sense. And you kind of look at the prices of these bikes, they're coming down less and less and less in price, and they're just as expensive, or maybe in some cases cheaper, than petrol equivalents. And you think, well, actually, that's not a bad shout. Just have electric motorcycles. You're only going to be doing short distances and mostly going to be for urban riding. Yeah, let's have an electric bike. And I kind of agree with that. Why not? Why not just have electric bikes for the smaller market? The question is for the larger bikes. Now, if you're going to say that there's going to be a complete ban on larger motorcycles from 2040 as well, and all the smaller bikes even before then what's the real alternative and what's the price? You know, you could be killing off the motorcycle industry because there's going to be a big backlash. There could be those that say, well, no, I don't want big electric motorcycles. I want a powerful petrol-driven motorcycle. There's also the other aspect here. It's not just the customer base that may reject it. It could be that even the manufacturers themselves are saying, well, hold on, we don't want to go electric. We don't need to go electric because we've got alternative fuels that we can use in internal combustion engines. And there's been a lot of movement on this in the last year and a half, and I've reported it on this channel as well. So you kind of think, well, what's going on in the minds of the policymakers and the lobbyists who are thinking, no, this is still a really good idea? Instead of just still going after this ban of petrol motorcycles, and even for that matter cars and lorries, and let's say, or trucks, not lorries but trucks, up to 2030, 2035, and now on to 2040 if we're talking about motorcycles. Why not look at alternatives? Why not look at what else can we do just to keep petrol driven or diesel driven engines going, just by using alternative fuels, synthetic fuels, maybe something like that? What about if we are going to go for this whole electric route? And I've said this in the past, the infrastructure isn't really geared for mass use of electric vehicles. We've already seen it in some states, the United States. I think in California, was it last year? They had real problems in generating electricity to charge all the electric cars, but also air conditioning units and all things like that. They're having blackouts all over the place. In this country as well, you know, there's always threats, especially energy crisis as well, being able to generate enough electricity throughout the winter. So you're going to say, hold on, you can't buy a petrol-driven vehicle, but you have to buy an electric-driven vehicle, but there's going to be no way of charging it consistency, let alone still having the problem of having electrical generation or electrical charging, I should say, for all homeowners, for all users. because you still have to have a charging point at home, let's say, and then charge your vehicle. Well, what about if you can't park your vehicle right outside your house? What about if you live in a flat? What about if you live in a terraced housing? What about if you live, some way away from the road itself? You can't charge your vehicle. Therefore, you have to go to a public charging area. Just like now, you say, right, I just go to a petrol station. So you're having to change the whole infrastructure just to accommodate this. So the infrastructure has to be in place. So what economic effect is that going to have, and what environmental effect is that going to have, just by trying to create all this extra infrastructure and to upgrade the grid and the electrical generation system just to be able to cope? There doesn't seem to be a lot of sane thinking here. There's no sanity check here by policymakers. And, it's up to the likes of us, not only YouTubers and the people the likes of motorcycle news and press and so on and so forth, but everyday people to say, well, hold on a minute. What about this? What about that? You can't do this because of this, X, Y, and Z. Fix that problem first, sort that problem, address it, come up with a solution. Then you could say, right, we're having a ban. But until you have everything in place, surely we can't be talking about this anymore. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But they're talking about before the summer session or going off for the summer holidays, the MPs in the UK, there's going to be a movement for a bill to be passed here. And they're talking about a 2040 ban on petrol-driven motorcycles. Do you think this is complete nonsense again? This is complete blanket thinking, old school thinking, blinkered into thinking that electric vehicles are the only way forward, when we know as users, we know there are so many holes in this argument. It's unbelievable how many holes are in this argument. And at the price of these things, and you're just making everything inflationary the whole time. I've just been to a garage, you're seeing cars for over £100,000. It's just absolute ridiculous what some of these high-priced cars are going for. Motorcycles, especially the electric motorcycles of the larger capacities, let's say, they are really huge. They are huge prices. People aren't going to be able to afford that. So there's going to be a backlash of not only buying new motorcycles and cars, but especially electric ones, where they might be just going into the second-hand market and just buying up the second-hand cars. Well, then everything's going to be rising, or it's going to be an inflationary measure, which is the last thing anybody wants. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. But unless they sort out the generation of electricity, the whole system itself, the grid, and how people are going to physically charge and how much these things are going to cost, then certainly for larger vehicles, larger motorcycles, this is a no-go. Let alone if people want it anyway, if they're going to get any enjoyment of riding electric motorcycles. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Catch you again.